Well, this is pretty cool. They looks like they featured the lone wolf video of our dark matter chain lube on the Trail Forks site. So that's the Trail Forks. That's the app for all the trails, all the names, all the routes, how to get there. Lots of information about the trails, and yeah, this is news to me. I did not know this was here. So they feature quite a few lone wolf videos, and this one came up on my feed today. Big surprise to have one of the best trail apps around promote my product. That's Trail Forks. That's associated with pinkbike.com, I believe. And now on with the Chainwax podcast. Hey everybody, this is John from the Chainwax podcast. We've got some things to talk about today. Mainly the fact that I can tell it's spring because it's one bike maintenance video after another coming up on the internet here. And there's lots of things out there now for 4 ounces that cost $30 for one bottle, and things that cost about $10 an ounce, and they're all going to have dismal performance compared to a product that's designed by a mountain biker for mountain bikers for the conditions we go through, and not some theoretical lab results. All right, so just so you know, I've decided to continue giving the free applicator brushes to all new customers. This is the Dark Matter t-shirt there that we have on eBay. Links are going to be in the description. So if you use Squirt, it goes on very similar. You can see here a very old picture from when we did Sea Otter actually. And it goes on like a gel. It's kind of like Squirt. It's a little more it's a little different. The product self-liquefies, so anything old on the chain, like the previous application of our product, it will reliquefy that and redisperse it. Every item comes with a brush, a little blue brush there at the bottom. But after you run a bead, say on the bottom of your chain, like here on the Lone Wolf video, okay, you just run a bead. You then just use the applicator brush here to push it in with the 3-head design. And it's got the 3 heads to push the lube down into the rollers and in between the side plates, and then the side brushes sort of clean up the sides as you do it, and you'll figure out how to put the right amount on after a couple times as to not waste any. This is designed to not only do a good job of applying, but save you some chain lube down the road. And like I said, the product reliquefies itself. So anything that's left in the bristles there, you can just leave it there for the next time. And what it'll do is when you put the new lube on, it'll reliquefy the dried chain lube in the brush and reuse it. You really can't hurt this stuff. It dries waterproof, and it reliquefies upon the new product touching it. So basically it's waterproof when you're out there riding like you want it to be, but it easily reliquefies with the product. Like the chain prep formula will reliquefy it, more dark matter will reliquefy what's there, 5311, all of them do the same thing. And it's because of the formula I came up with, and that's why we have some of the ingredients in ours that are not found in other products. So that's as much as I'm willing to say about that. Unfortunately, they monitor everything I do and try to mimic everything I do. And how do I know this? Because the minute I throw out a new term, within a couple of months, they're using that term. And this has been going on and on and on, on and on and on. So it's just, when you're first, everybody tries to copy you. It's supposed to be a compliment. But, unfortunately, they have $1 million marketing budget and I don't. So how to order, when you Google my name, it comes up. So basically you're going to get to a PayPal screen, and you're going to, instead of paying with your PayPal account, you can pay with a debit or credit card. That should be pretty easy to see on the checkout page. Now the SAG card, oops, where did it go? There it is, the SAG card. So everything is sorted by low to high. So you get the $5 wax applicator, you get our home version of the dust repelling clean lube for $8.99. Got the guitar string formula, so if you play guitar, This stuff will make your guitar strings last forever as far as tone, and they don't break. Like if your strings break in X amount of time, you can times it by 10. I can guarantee that because I've got my everyday practice guitar with the same strings on it now for almost 5 years. It's just a practice guitar, so I'm not worried about the tone or whatnot. I just want to keep my fingers in shape on it for exercise, basically. But this stuff, inadvertently, when we came up with Lumenschleiden LS1, the original formula of the Black Label formula, which is now our Bike Park formula, which is a very low build. The first attempt at it, I was running it. I realized it needs a little more of this, a little more of that. But the very first attempt at it, I realized this might be a good guitar string formula. So I went ahead and did that. It took me a few years to getting around to doing it. And in the Old Guy in the Bike first review, we did an episode called Coffee Rides. He did a thing called Coffee Rides, and we talked about that then. That was 3 years ago. I still have the same strings on that guitar. I play it almost every day for, 10 minutes, a half hour sometimes, and I'm shocked that the strings haven't broken. Just one G string across the two guitars that I've got this on. So anyway, I realized I had a superior thing right away for chains, but it also has many applications outside of the bike. But I digress. So to get back to the point here, under all products, you can sort them by low to high, and you eventually get to the SAG card here at $9.99, then to the Tool Lube $9.99, and then we get to our Smooth Lube original chain prep formula there, okay? You can also sort them by most popular, and that's going to probably give you the things you're looking for right away. So there's the top three sellers: the 5311, the Dark Matter, the chain prep formula, and then the SAG card. Formula 1.2 is selling very well as well, and then we get the brush. Most people don't find the brush right away and don't buy it. It's only $5, so I think they're missing it. I'm going to have to add that to the featured item list so you see it right away. Again, that's under all products, so we've got the featured products. When you just get to the site, you got featured products, which says right there at the top, and then you've got all products. So that's how it should look on your phone. It might be a little different on the tablet or laptop. And we have categories you can go into. You can look at the knee pads, the chain lubes is down here, and just the chain lubes will come up if you do that. We did put the brush in with the chain lube, so you didn't miss it. Okay, so that's how you navigate the website. Hope that's easy. Reminding me here, I got to do some new photos for the bike shop formula, for the bike park formula. I need to do the shop bottle photos for that. These are 16-ounce bottles here without the proper photos. I don't have a photographer right now. So to set up a nice little setting like this is something I'm not good at. And we have shop bottles of almost everything now in 16 ounces. There's the Dark Matter shop bottle for $54. You get a free applicator brush with that. Here's 5311 for $48, 16 ounces. And you get a free applicator brush with that as well. All of the shop bottles come with a free applicator brush. Alright, so one of the videos I just did got a lot of views. I'm really excited about that. And I can see the sales coming in. A bunch of new customers. They're all getting free stuff. And still getting ready to do some demo days now that spring is here. That's going to be fun. We're going to do some here around Southern California real soon. And I'll put a message out to where they'll be if you want to come have it. If you're in the area and you want to try the product for free. Alright, I don't know if you can see this here in the video. The guy's got two toothbrushes together with rubber bands. He's got a string between the chain. You don't need to do any of this stuff anymore. I've just gotten a flood of these things coming in my feed, and I think it's funny. I've saved them here in my podcast notes to try to remember them. So I want to point out something from another chain testing guy. He did motorcycles and bicycle chains, different lubes. Listen to this.
He won his competition by having tremendous film strength and coming out on top in 3 or 4 categories. But The qualities that made it come out on top in 3 categories also resulted in it coming in last place as far as the amount of dirt that stuck to the chain. Because it's...
So you hear, that's the dilemma. That's what all these chain lube companies are facing. This is what we've gotten around. In order to get superior performance, it usually comes at a sacrifice of either being very hard to maintain in one way or another. Our product has eliminated that completely. There is no chain maintenance. There is no running a toothbrush between applications necessary with some dental floss between the links. You don't need to do any of this stuff that you'll see on YouTube this spring. So one of the things I want to talk about is the proper application from dark matter and uber clear. I'm a little distracted there. I had one of my guitar channels come up on the podcast notes for some reason. So Granny Gear here just did a new video where he gave me another shout out. Let me just take a look at that real quick.
Now, a lot of the other products I use, they're going to continue on. Things like the chain lube, which is the smooth lube products from amtber.com. And I did a video on that. I'll put that link in the description. And a lot of you guys found out that when you ordered it from him, that by golly, it's an amazing chain lube. I've been using it for over 5 years now. And I just recently, since I added an e-mountain bike to the collection, started using his dark matter formula she's had for quite a while. And that withstands the high torque of e-bikes. Well, it's amazing to live with. It's clean, it's quiet, it lasts long, and it just is direct application out of the bottle. If you want that, not a crock pot situation, it is my go-to chain lube, and it should be yours as well. And of course, all the bikes.
So he's using the dark matter. I just sent him some uber clear, and we're gonna do a little tutorial on that real quick here, probably the next video. Basically, the uber clear was designed to keep the outside of the chain protected between, okay, so when you put the dark matter on, you want it in the rollers, in between the plates. If you put the dark matter on and it gets on the outside, it's very dark, and that, most people don't want that on, say, your oil slick chain or your gold chain. So the uber clear was designed to sort of clean up the outside, and then between rides, like after your first ride of dark matter, you can use it to replace the waxes, and then it leaves a clear film on the outside. It doesn't leave a dark film on the outside of the chain. So you can use it as a two-step process. You can use the dark matter as, I'll put the dark matter on for 3 rides, get it established, and then start using the uber clear every ride or every other ride, and just do the dark matter, say like 1 to 3 or something like that. It depends on your conditions, of course. If it's really bad conditions, you're going to have to do it more often. If you're a big rider, you're going to have to do it more often. And if your bike is super powerful, you have to do it probably every ride if you want no chain noise. Now, some people have tested and done 180 miles per application on e-bikes. And, I'm not sure exactly what kind of trails they were on. They were on downhill trails. So it's like probably a fire road shuttle up to the top and then down in those kind of loamy conditions up north. That seems to be how you're able to get that kind of mileage out here on it. Because here in Southern California, your front tire is blasting dust and sand on the chain the whole time. And 180 miles might be pushing it for extreme dusty conditions. All right, so that's the Old Guy in a Bike channel. Thank you so much, Granny Gear. This is a pen name. He's a mountain bike journalist for 25 years or so. And he's got almost 13,500 subscribers now. And I get a lot of new customers through his little shout outs, which is great. I've been sponsoring him the whole time he's had the channel, and I suggest you subscribe to him. So that's his channel, at Old Guy and a Bike. So here we are. This is my SB100. It's been sitting in the rafters for a while. I've got to fix one of the wheels on it. It's got a broken spoke. Other than that, it's ready to go. And I haven't ridden in a while. I'm in the shade here. I've got some clotheslines up, but I'm just hanging it up here to clean the dust off. It's been sitting for quite a bit. So you can see here on the chain, it's been sitting all winter in the rafters. No rust is formed on the chain at all. I literally just pulled this down 5 minutes ago and just hit it with a duster brush real quick just to get the surface dust off the bike from sitting in the rafters. It's getting pretty dirty just sitting there. But the chain is in perfect condition after sitting all through winter, all the moisture, no rust at all. Everything is ready to go. And I'm just going to fix the wheels and put this bike back together. In the meantime, I'm going to do a little quick demo of how to apply using the three-headed brush. Let's see if I can do this. So what we have here is I'm going to use some of the new Uber Clear on there. This is one of the older three-headed brushes, the ones that you get with the shop bottle. And working with one hand, free hand here, I'm going to run a bead on the chain and then come back and push it in with this brush. So it'll push it in from all three sides. So all you're going to do is put on a bead just like you do the squirt. I'm doing this one-handed, so bear with me, okay? I was really hoping not to get a spill, but I got a little, it doesn't matter, okay? Now all you're going to do is take the three-head brush and just push it in. That's it. Push it in like that. And you can see most of it is pushed into the rollers now. And you're going to do the whole chain like this, which we'll do real quick. And you might be able to see here, by having a free hand, I was able to put a lot less on. And then I'm just going to run the three-head brush just across the chain like this. And what it does is it pushes most of it in. Okay, so you're not going to get a lot of transfer to the chain ring this way. I have one more section to do. And here's what you want. I just want one little drop on each roller like that. So you'll get good at it. Make sure the stuff's a little bit warm so it flows easily. Now, did the fourth section of chain, which covers the whole chain. I'm back to where I started, pushing it in. And now we're just going to cycle the chain. Holding the brush right here, we're going to cycle the chain for 1 minute. Now I need two hands to do that. So just imagine, I'll show you when I'm done. Okay, so I ran the pedals with the brush, holding the brush like this for 1 minute to push it in. And you can see the sides of the chain are pretty clean. You know, there's a little bit of chunks on the brush here. They're going to dry and be used later, or you can just work it all into the chain the best you can. But, you know, I'm doing a little more than I need to just for the video's sake here. I mean, it's done. It's going to dry pretty clear. I'm just looking at the sides. I want the sides to be presentable. Make sure there's not too much buildup. I like my bike to look clean, you know, especially being in the bike business. I want the bike to look as clean as possible. Make it look like I know what I'm actually doing. But you can see here the chain is very clean. Just a little bit of buildup there. Just happened to catch on camera. And running it sideways with the side bristles here will push it away. It'll collect some of it. Anything extra will get trapped in the brush. And then you got a pretty clean looking chain once it's dry. I'm going to get a little sun on there to show you. I'm in the shade because it's 100 degrees again here in California already in March, on the 21st of March, the first day of spring. It's almost 100 degrees. So there we have it. This is a chain that's not been cleaned. It's got all the leftover lube on it from last year, and I just worked some new in. It re-liquefied it. At this point, if you want to get it real clean, it's still wet. It's still in the wet phase now, okay? So you can wipe it down or not. I suggest not. Let it dry. Use the brush to do the work. Use the brush to get any excess off, and then let it dry. And it'll be just like a wax dip chain without all that hassle. Now this took longer to explain it than it did to do it. It takes 1 minute to do it. That's it. And this is all you need, is just the brush and you can use a rag if you choose. If you do the rag, put the rest of what's on the brush onto the outside of the chain just to leave a small thin film, meaning if you really want to wipe it down, you can, and just use that excess just to put a little back on the outside so it's not, it'll be a smoother shifting procedure for you. It'll just protect the chain a little bit more from dust and mud and water and stuff. So a little bit of wax on the outside is good. Don't rub it down to a bare metal chain. You can't really rub it down to bare metal. There'll still be stuff on there, but we like to leave a little on to help repel the dust and mud and water. All right, so I just cleaned up the bike. It had been sitting for a while. I did put it away a little dirty because Well, when I broke the spoke, it was kind of beginning of the wet season. And I just took the wheels off, and it's Envy wheels. They're hard to repair a spoke on the Envy wheels with the internal, you have to true it from the inside, and you have to take the tire off. It's really not that great. I don't think I'll ever buy a wheel set that's the case again. But it didn't take me but 5 minutes to polish this up with a rag, a spritzer bottle, and I use this brush right here. It's plastic bristles to kind of get all the nooks and crannies. Use a little spritzer bottle, this brush, rag it off. You don't have to hose your bike down. They're going to show you to hose your bike down to clean it, even after a little dusty ride. Just use a rag, use a really thick microfiber towel, and this brush is fantastic for getting into areas like this linkage here. And if you need a little water, I just use a little spritzer bottle just to get it wet enough to remove it, and then I dry it off. So I'm never soaking my bearings or bottom bracket or headset or seat post or down the seat tube or any of it. Okay, this little brush also is great around the brakes. You can just find anything with these plastic type bristles, it doesn't harm the carbon, doesn't harm the paint, and does a great job of agitating enough. And usually that's all you need. Now the side I started on with the chain's already dry to the touch, totally dry. In the time 5 minutes it took to wipe the bike down, chain is already dry, ready to go. And you can see it's pretty darn clean, just leaving the brush finish on there. There's a little bit on the chain ring, just comes right off if you want it off there. But you'll get good at putting the right amount on. Again, I had to do this with one hand holding the camera, so it wasn't ideal. It's always been the case when I try to do these on the fly. But everything got cleaned up really quickly with the brush. I got to do a little more in there. There's a little bit of gunk in there I'll get. But yeah, this bike is ready to roll as soon as I fix the front wheel. So I just ran my little blue brush on the derailleur, and it got everything out of every little crevice. Oh, by the way, if you're wondering what this is, it's just the top of an old bottle. And I used, what did I do? I did something to make this little chain keeper. I've got so many bikes hanging up, I just don't want to buy a chain keeper for each one. I usually make them out of the right size bolt with the red thread, with the right thread pattern. This is the typical chain keeper I make, where you can actually shift gears and do adjustments. So it's just the right bolt pitch. This one looks like it's for my Trek. So it's got a different pitch for the Trek road bikes than it does the Yeti mountain bikes. And then I just put 2 big washers and a little piece of PVC that fits the bolt pretty well, and it just, it kind of replaces your axle. So you thread it in and you can do the shifting. This one's just to store the bike just out of a plastic bottle. So while I'm at it, I did find the other one. This one, turns out this one's for the Trek with a 1.75 thread pitch. You can see it's a little more coarse than this one for the Yeti. And you can see the threads are slightly different. The Yeti's a little finer thread. I'm gonna have to put some of my stuff on these threads to keep these from rusting. Didn't think about that. What I did is I did put a little Loctite on the bolts to keep them from coming loose. So these things spin pretty free. But the chain just glides right over it. A little piece of PVC. And some of those plasticizers I meant, those are the lubricants they use in PVC. And just because it says contains no PTFE doesn't mean it's not harmful to you. The plasticizer lubricants they use in this type of plastic, which I think is being used in a chain lube right now. Well, you know what I'm talking about. That stuff's just as harmful to you. It causes the same hormone disruption and everything. But they're allowed to say no PTFE. So, but doesn't mean they're putting something else in that's not just as harmful. So how about contains no harmful chemicals? That would be the way to say that. All right, so you can see making one of these for your bikes is pretty simple. It costs probably $4 or $5 at the very most. The bolt's actually pretty expensive to get the bolt with the right thread pitch. You're probably not going to find the right thread pitch at Home Depot. You're probably going to have to find out what the thread pitch of your rear axle is. from the manufacturer and then order one online, or go to a bolt specialty shop like I go to, which is DWP Fasteners here in Chatsworth. And here's those Envy wheels. They're pretty dirty too, just hanging up in the garage here with my road bikes. So there's a couple of my road bikes there hanging up. That's it. We'll get to these another time. I'll finish this podcast first. All right, so I hope you enjoyed that little rundown of the SB100. It's been up in the rafters for a while, and you know the chain is ready to go. It cleaned up so fast. This is just some video of me before I started, and I normally run the 5311 on that bike, but right now I'm going to be running the new batches of Uber Clear instead, just to try it out, see how it holds up now that things are drying out so quick. We're back to dusty trails. I mean, they're not inundated with dust like at the end of summer, but it's already going to be dusty out there. So I want to see how the new Uber Clear holds up going into spring and summer here. Well, I got a lot of little pieces here to put together to put this podcast together. I'm going to start patching them together. I think that's going to be about it, though. Let me check. All right. Yeah, I think that's going to wrap it up. I think we covered quite a few different little things there. Maybe you got some ideas of something you want to do for your bike, and maybe the way you want to store your bike, and maybe the way you want to clean your bike and not get the inside all wet. I keep forgetting about talking about the cable housings with these internal cables. Now, a lot of bikes, those are sealed off if you're lucky. But most people have bikes that don't have internal routing that is waterproof. So, you know, every time you wash your bike, you're getting stuff in the frame. And I got to tell you, it'll definitely make your bike heavier. All that dust accumulation. And how do you wash out the inside of your frame? I mean, it's really, you got to take the whole bike down to do that. I've done it once before where I had a bare frame and I couldn't believe how much dirt came out of the inside of the frame. So, you know, something to think about. Washing your bike is something they want you to do. It's not necessarily that good of an idea. So in short, I think lubing your chain saves you money, especially if you're using the right lube. Our lube will make your chain last so long you won't believe it. And I don't think washing your bike saves you money at all. I think finding other ways. I did a little video about how I dry clean the bikes. You got a little bit of a insight on how I do that with just a rag, that one brush with the plastic bristles, and a spritzer bottle just to loosen up some mud. Now, that's, you know, I never have to replace headsets, bottom brackets, wheel bearings, pedal bearings, anything. But when I used to do the hose on my bikes, that was all the time. Maybe 2 or 3 bottom brackets a year even. So that's all gone from the expense of riding for me now, and I wanted to share that with you. So I'll wrap it up there. Thanks so much for watching, and this is A Mountain Biker Products Chainwax Podcast, and have a great spring, guys. Get out there and ride. The weather's getting good. Have a good one. Bye. Got to get back to taking these tires off and the rim tape and all that dried up sealant just to fix one spoke. So wish me luck. All right, guys, have a good weekend. Bye-bye.